Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Okay, so you'll know from the description and the thumbnail that you've clicked that this is a review on two different methods of testing the solution, the dilution ratio, if you will, or the strength of your antifreeze stroke coolant in your car. But before I get into that, I just want to add this because another review you may have seen I did in January. You can't add to the videos once they're up on YouTube, and you can't add. It's totally irrelevant to this review, and as always, there will be lots of waffling in here from me. There is the red line below, which I will itemise at each bit, so if you just want to go straight to the review of these, that's going to be easy for you to do. But what it is, in January I did a review on this. I'll just put my specs on. A water flosser from Lidl's. Nevedent is Lidl's own sort of like oral hygiene, own name brand. Now I got this in January. It only went about 3 months. Like I say, I'm adding this here, so I'll also add it to the description of the video, but I can't actually add to the video. But it only lasted about 3 months before it went wrong. It went haywire, all the lights started flashing, then it just totally packed up. So I put it in the boot of my car along with the receipt, always keep the receipt, and I've been driving to Lidl's every week hoping for them to come back in stock and they'd just do me a swap. Well, I saw last week that today, Sunday, and it's Sunday the 23rd of June, that they were going to be in stock at $12.99. Well, I paid $19.99 for it. So I thought, well, instead of swapping it, I'll get a refund. So last week I got a refund, and again, they issued the refund straight back to the card, no questions asked, at the till in store. So I got me $19.99, 20 quid back, and today I've bought this for $12.99, so 7 quid. Now I'm going to risk it one more time, so I'm just telling this because I gave it a good review, but at the time I obviously didn't know how long it was going to last, and it was only 3 months. Now I'm hoping this will last a bit longer and I'll get my money's worth out of this. If this goes wrong again, I'm not going to buy another one of theirs. I'm going to get the refund and do it. So I'll keep you updated on the site in the description about this. So yeah, check up here at the card if you want to see a full description of this. But I just thought I'd add it here. It did go wrong in 3 months, but they're back on sale in Lidl's now at a lot cheaper than they were. Right, so let's actually get on to the review on these two items. Again, recently, click up here if you want to see it, I had a breakdown on the motorway in my kit car. The radiator fan went, it overheated. Like I said, check out this story on how abysmal the RAC were getting to it. Left me stranded for 8 hours and never even turned up. Again, that's another story, another review. But I had to put a new radiator fan on, so of course I had to drain all the fluid once I got home, refill it and everything. So I checked it the other day and I thought, well, hang on, I didn't actually check the proper ratio. I bet it's probably a bit weak, and it was. I sent off for these two because I want to compare the two. Now, they're totally different, and again, I will leave links in the description below to both these items and the actual antifreeze that I've just bought from Amazon. They are Amazon affiliate links, so if you click on one of them links and buy anything from that session, I do get a small commission, so that'd be great. It helps keep the channel going. So I saw these two methods of checking the concentration of your coolant. As you probably know, you can buy coolant ready mixed that you just pour in, or you can buy it concentrated and you mix your own thing. There's not a lot of difference in the price. You've got to really look through the prices, but I'll point it out later and I'll show you the actual antifreeze I used. Basically, from what I can read, if it's antifreeze, they call it antifreeze, you normally dilute it. Coolant is already diluted, so dilute antifreeze, 50% water, 50% antifreeze, and it becomes basically coolant. So that helps keep your engine cool. It boils at a higher temperature in summer and it stops your engine freezing in winter. And you can put various amounts of the concentrate in to give you various forms of protection down to various temperatures. Obviously here in the UK we're not getting any massively low temperatures, I hope not, but obviously other areas of the world, Eastern Europe, Canada and that, will get really, really, really cold. So I'm aware of this sort of tester, but I wasn't aware of this. So I bought the two to compare them. Do I really need both? No, but this one in particular, I fancied having a go and checking it out. And yeah, I really, spoiler alert, I like this a lot more than this. So first of all, I'll go into details about this one, and then I'll show you them in action, so to speak, and I'll show you the actual readings we're taking on various concentrations from just pure distilled water to 50-50 mix to a 60-30 mix or 66-33 mix to a neat antifreeze. And then we'll check how they tally the readings on each one. Now this sort, the way you use this, I used to keep marine fish, and you had to add the right amount of salt, and there was a very similar thing. You just dipped it in, and this needle here, you can see it swinging around there, it's got a weight on it, and depending on the specific gravity, this little weighted arrow goes up that scale and tells you the concentration. So there's this sort, and that arrow at the top, that pointer at the top, that's just to help you hold it vertical. You've got to have that, you can see it there, in the middle of that vertical line. And that shows you there it's vertical. Don't think you really need that. You're pretty much aware when you're holding something vertical like that. And you just dip this end of the tube in your coolant fluid, in your top-up bottle or your radiator cap. Squeeze that, suck the water up. I'll be showing you doing that. Suck the liquid up, and you'll see this needle move up to a certain level. This one, and this is what intrigued me, never used anything of this, a refractometer. I think that's how you spell it, how you pronounce it, refractometer, not refractometer. And as you can see, you get it in the box. Again, I normally show you comparisons on Amazon, different ones, but I'm not going to this time. I'll put on the bottom how much each one cost, just here. But there's loads of these on Amazon, and there's loads of these. Some have different coloured labels, but they're all basically the same thing. I suggest you just look for the one that seems to be on offer that day. So this cost me £6.83. This one cost me 16 quid, 15.99. As well as the cardboard box, you get this, a nice little sort of case, and you get the unit itself and a little pipette. So I'll show you exactly how you use it. And behind the top here, whoops, you've got like a lens cleaning cloth and the instructions. Again, I won't fold the instructions out for you to say I'm explaining everything in here. It's pretty straightforward. This just came in a bag. It didn't come in any sort of box. So I've shown you how you use this. Like I say, you just dip that in the fluid you want to measure, squeeze the bulb, and it sucks it up. It is actually quite difficult trying to get it up to the fill line. If you look on there, fluid level, you've got to get it up to that line. And I have found that dipping it in a little dish, my sample dishes, squeezing it in as hard as you can, getting all the air out as you can, when you suck up, it only comes up to about here. If you can dip it right in, if you've got a tall sample glass, like a pint glass or whatever, and dip that right into there, it does do it easy. Or if you can dip it really deep in your expansion bottle in your car or your radiator, but in mine, if I'm putting it in the radiator fill cap, it's like on a horizontal bit and you don't get much vertical dip down it. So what I found I had to do was squeeze as much as you can in, it gets up to about there, and then tip it. Again, I'll show you what I mean with the liquid in a minute, and sort of squeeze some air out of there and then put it back in and do it. But it can be a bit awkward trying to get it to the fill line. And another thing, the bubbles on it, I'll show you, they can be awkward to get off as well. Whereas this one, even though it sounds more complicated to use, was an absolute doddle, and as you can see, far more accurate than this. Do you need fantastic accuracy when just measuring the content of the fluid for your coolant? Not really, no. But it's nice to know that it does seem to work, you know, and different solutions do give a perceptible different reading, whereas on this, it's a bit sort of like hit and miss what the reading is. So let's get straight into it now. Side test on them. I'm going to get 4 pots now, clear a bit of space on my desk. Your fingers get quite sticky, obviously, because you're using antifreeze. And I'm going to show you, first of all, this, and then we'll compare the readings with this. So I'll set up these dishes now, and we'll do the experiments. Okay, so I've got all the samples here ready. This is the actual antifreeze I'll be using. Again, I'll show you later on Amazon the price of this. I'll put it on screen as well. But you can dilute this. It's not ready to use. It's 5 litres, and you can dilute it at 1 part of this and 2 parts of water if you want. So if you bear that in mind when you're pricing them up, I found that was one of the best value ones on Amazon. So first of all, I'm going to show you this one, and I'm just going to, like I say, have to hold it up and try not to dribble on my keyboard and things like that. And I'll show you, hopefully you'll be able to see the needle going up. So as I mentioned, if you can dip that entire tube in, it's better. So first of all, I'm going to show it you just with water. This is just tap water. You would, of course, try and use distilled water, particularly if you're in a hard water area. In using it in your car, it's always best using distilled water. It's not expensive to buy. If you want a totally free way of getting it, check the link up here. I did a review on that and a full test. If you use the water produced by your tumble dryer, if you've got a heat pump or a condensing tumble dryer, the water it puts into the collection tray that you'd normally just throw away is distilled water, as this test up here shows. But for this, I'm just going to use tap water to just show you this. So if you squeeze, so put it in, turn around so you can read it. So as you can see, it's right into the end there, and squeeze the ball on the end, and you can see the level going up. But as you can see, it hasn't quite gone up to the fill line, which is just above these orange lines here. So what you have to do then is maneuver it round so there's no water there. Squeeze the bulb a bit and then dip it back in. And as you can see, it can be pretty awkward, particularly if you're doing it from a little dish like I'll be doing in a minute with the antifreeze. But eventually, and if it's too much, I'm just getting it down to the right level. I'll show you in a second. If it's too much, you just squeeze a bit out. But you can see now it's up to that where it says fluid level there. And you hold, like I say, that. So that needle is vertical. So I'll do it facing me now. And you can see the needle is right down here. So on the reverse, the scale on the reverse of this is the boiling point. and degrees C. I'll just be going in degrees C, I won't bother with degrees F. But you can see on that it shows the boiling point is 125 degrees. That's just with water, because don't forget it's pressurised, your system. Well, that's at level, and your freeze point is at -12. So again, it's showing -12 freeze point with just pure water. Now, one problem you can get on these, can you see just on the needle there is an air bubble? So you've got to tap it to try and get rid of that air bubble, because obviously that air bubble is causing buoyancy in its own right and affecting the reading. And as you can see, it's not that easy. It's little pig of a thing is still on there. You can still see it attached to the needle. So right, lots and lots of tapping and it's gone. Hold it so the top needle is vertical and take your reading. As you can see, I'll just put it on manual focus. So there, that's exactly vertical. Might not look it on camera, but it is exactly vertical, and it is showing your freeze point at -12 centigrade plus 10 Fahrenheit. And that's just with pure water. So we'll squirt that out of there now. I'm just squirting it into its glass. So I've got, like I said, various solutions. This is neat, brand new today antifreeze. So it's not been in the garage for years or anything like that. It's brand new antifreeze, and this is neat. Now, I won't show you me trying to fill it up. It's going to be hard doing it up here one-handed, so you have to take my word for it. So I'm going to fill it and mess about. I'll cut all that bit out and I'll get it up to this fill line, and we'll see where this needle goes up to with neat. Again, you can see it's not quite got up to the fill line here, so I'm going to have to mess about a bit more. Okay, so you can see we're up to the fill line now. Again, put it on a manual focus, and you can see it's dripping out the end, so it can be sort of quite messy to do, but I'll hold that there vertical, and you can see the arrow here. It's not as easy for you to see, but you can see it's right up at, on the orange band, what is it, near enough flat, the full scale, 43 degrees. -4, I'll just turn it around and have a read. Yeah, that's showing like full protection. You can see it dripping out the back now. So -43 degrees C protection against freezing. So yeah, that's with neat, undiluted antifreeze. So you wouldn't put that in. You would dilute it at least 50-50. But you can see how far it's got. You can see there's no bubbles on the counter, so as you can see it. So I'll now do it with a 50-50 mix. This is 50-50, so it's exactly half of that antifreeze and half water. And if you can see, the needle now is right down at 23, -23 degrees. So that will give you -23 degrees protection against freezing. Again, I'll hold that bang on vertical. That's there. So yeah, pretty much bang on the -23. So that's with the 50-50. Okay, so this time it is, as you can see, 2 of water and 1 of antifreeze. So it's like a 2/3 mix. And you can see, I'll get it bang on vertical. You can see the arrow now is at about, again using the orange, nearer to 18 degrees. So 18 degrees, maybe a bit above. So like I said, take a mental note of these readings. We'll be comparing it to the refractometer in a minute. But even though there's like twice as much water in there, or like a third as much or whatever, like I say, it's 2 to 1. 2 water, 1 antifreeze. The first one was 1 water, 1 antifreeze. It's not a lot less. It's just dipped down by about 5 degrees or so. But again, you've got, you know, I've tapped and tapped, but sometimes there's some absolute micro bubbles on there which will affect it a bit. So you've got a couple of squirts it took me to fill that and holding it at an angle to get it to this. You've got your dripping coming out the end and the chance of the little bubbles, but it's still giving you an indication. So you can see it's higher than pure water, which was right down at the bottom, and obviously less than neat. So let's try the refractometer now, and I'll show you how that is. Might be a bit awkward me holding it to the lens of the webcam here, but I'll do my best and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Okay, so I'll just show you the refractometer in detail. I mentioned you got this pipette with it. I forgot to say you get a little screwdriver as well, and you'll need that to calibrate it. It does come ready calibrated, but if you ever need to calibrate it, you do that. I'll show you how you do that. So that is the unit, and this ATC means automatic temperature control. Most of them seem to have this, but I think some of the early ones didn't. If it's in extremes of temperature, you can recalibrate it. But once you've calibrated it under normal sort of like average temperatures, it'll automatically compensate within a certain range. It's in the book. I think it's 20 to 30 degrees or something like that. But I won't worry about that too much. But that's what that is. So the way you use it is you lift that thing there. First of all, when you first get it, you'll want to look through it. And as you hold it up to your eye, like that, and a light source, it doesn't have to be a bright light source, but the brighter the better, daylight or a bright light on it, but you couldn't do it in a dark thing. You need light shining on the front. And you'll see a scale, and I'm going to hold it up to the camera soon. It's pretty hard getting it lined up. When I do the experiments with the different liquids, which I've already done, I've got it taped to the desk, as you'll see shortly. So I'm filming this a bit out of sequence. I've already done them tests. You'll be seeing them very shortly. But once there's a light shining on it, you see the graduated scales. And there's a white and a blue band. Part of it's white, part of it's blue, and that's where you take your reading from. So I'll try and demonstrate that as the best I can. If I hold it up now, with no liquid on it whatsoever, to the webcam, there you can see that's about the best I'm going to be able to do. But you can see where it says waterline, everything is blue. You've got add blue for the stuff you add to some cars. Sorry about that. Your windscreen washer one there, the SRF one. So that's isopropyl alcohol, ethylene on one side, propylene on the other. We'll be using the scale on the right, the ethylene G11/12, because that's what my antifreeze is. And then you've got your battery charge on there again. I wasn't going to do it, but I've done a reading with a fully charged battery and a flat battery. You'll see that shortly. But obviously, viewing it yourself, it's dead steady and it's crystal clear, and you can adjust the focus here. Now, I wear reading glasses, and I got it perfectly in focus without my glasses on. And I got it both sides of the focus. So I would imagine for your average person needing reading glasses or whatever, you should be able to focus it. If not, you could probably do it with your glasses on. But I have read a couple of reports, people saying they were able to focus it. But like I say, I'm definitely, things are a blur now with that. Without these on, I'm looking at the camera, things are a blur. It's crystal clear now, and it was easily focused each side, so plenty of adjustment. And what you do, I've got the pipette here and a bit of water, so you just get enough water on here just to cover it. So I find 3 drops. Obviously you would do it with this flat and level. It's a bit hard to show in front of the camera, but and then once you've got the drops on, you close that cover thing and you just sort of like rub it until you haven't got any airlocks in it or air bubbles. Like I say, it's a lot easier just doing it down in front of you. So you can see that now, it's pretty smooth. Them little ones won't matter at all. Now that's just with water on, so that should go to the water line. So you should now, instead of seeing it all blue, you should see some white on it. There, can you see at the bottom? Water line. You can see it's a bit above the water line, so it needs calibrating. Now I show you that when it's strapped to the table, but like I say, you can see there it's half white, and that band between the white and the blue is what you take your reading from. On just pure water, that's where it will be. And that's basically all there is to it. Like I said, I thought it'd be more awkward using this than the other, but I prefer using this. There's no getting a big amount of liquid into it. There's no trying to get it to the fill line by squeezing some air out and get it up. There's no tapping that thing to get any bubbles off it, and the reading is absolutely bang on, to me, more accurate with this. So yeah, so let's have a look at it now. Filmed earlier on, strapped to the desk, doing various ratios of antifreeze and water. Okay, so we've got the refractometer set up now on the desk. It's taken me absolutely ages to line up me Brio webcam with the viewfinder. It's dead easy holding it to your eye up to a light source, but it's not easy holding it up to the camera. I'll show you what I mean. So this is my setup now. As you see, we've got the refractometer here. I'm afraid of touching anything for knocking it out of position. We've got the Brio here looking in the end, and we're going to be putting the fluids here. So if we switch now straight to the view from the Brio, and this is before we have calibrated it or got any sort of liquid on it. That's the view now. And you can see that when you're seeing it with the naked eye, that's absolutely crisp. But as you see there, we've got propylene and ethanol. Now, most antifreeze is ethanol, so you'll take your reading here. And you've got -10, -20, -30, -40, and -50. This here, SRF, that, I looked it up, I googled that, and that is basically isopropyl alcohol. That's for your windscreen washer. Now, I don't know what these two scales are here. There's like a 40 there and a 40 there. I'm presuming it's like an ethanol-based one or a isopropyl alcohol-based one. I don't know, but they're so close to each other, it doesn't really make any difference. This one here, AdBlue. I don't have a car that uses AdBlue, but you can measure that as well. And you've got your battery condition there. Again, I've not used it on the battery. I might just do that before I upload this video. And I obviously won't be able to... yeah, I could bring a bit of battery acid in, I suppose. But means stripping the back of the car down. So I don't think I'll be doing that. But as you see now, it's not calibrated. And there's no liquid whatsoever on it. So what we do is we drip 3 or 4 drops, or whatever, that's all you need, of distilled water. Calibrate it with distilled water, it says, on under the flap, as I showed you before. So you'll be seeing me doing it live any second when I swing the camera down. And then we use a little screwdriver. I'm going to be using this syringe, and don't worry, this syringe, I'm not a junkie or anything. It's for pumping air in this sand sculpture. But I've gone and left the little pipette you get with it in the box before I set it all up. So you'll need a tiny little screwdriver like you get with it, and some sort of means of dropping the water on it. So what you do when you've dropped the droplets of water on it and closed the cover, you insert a little screwdriver in the adjustment thing, as you'll see in a minute, and you move it in and out until you see the interface between the white and blue go bang on the water line. It's then calibrated. So I'll show you what I mean now. We'll swing it down, and as I say now, there is no water whatsoever on here. We're not measuring anything at the moment. It's just blue, and like I say, that is crystal clear when you're looking at it with the naked eye. It's a bit blurred, but it's about as most focused as I can get with the Brio up so close. So you can see the whole area is blue. So what we do is pull the flap back, and we just put 3 drops of whatever you're measuring. I usually find 3 is about right. So 1, 2, 3 on there. Close the flap down. So lightly spread it till it's all even and you can't see any air bubbles. And what we see now is, you can see it has gone white there. Where it says waterline, put the screwdriver in there. You take the plastic cap off, this rubber cap. Place your little micro screwdriver in there. And as I move it up and down, you'll see that blue line moving up and down. So you do it till it's bang on where it says waterline. And that's it now calibrated. So it's now calibrated, and I'm going to drop on them various same mixes, the neat, the 50-50 and the 60-40 mix that I showed you before. Between each one of them, you obviously wipe the blue sort of screen. So I'll show you doing that now. So we've now calibrated it, and we need to clean the distilled water off. So you just gently wipe that off there, and wipe that as well. And this time we will drop on we'll start with the weakest and work way up. So this is the 2 parts water, 1 part antifreeze. 1, 2, 3. Again, close that down. Do that. Switch to the Brio. You can now see where it says ethylene, we're at minus 12, I would say 10, 11, 12. About between minus 12 and minus 13 degrees protection. That's on the 60-40 mix. So we'll clean the 60-40 off now. Let me make sure it's all traces are off. And I'll rinse out the syringe just in a bit of water. And we'll now put the 50-50 in. Didn't suck any up. 2, 3. So if we remember, it was 13-ish before with the 60/40. It's 20 showing down the ethylene one, 22, 23. So pretty similar to what the other is saying, but obviously far more accurate. As I mentioned before, do we need the accuracy when measuring antifreeze concentration? I don't think so, but it's nice to know. You can see there is a difference. Finally, the neat stuff. So wipe all that off. Wipe that clear. And move them out. So again, we'll clean out just with a bit of the distilled water. Here. And we'll, this one here, so it says neat. Put 3 drops of that on. Like I say, you wouldn't use this neat because it is concentrated version. And that's that there. Wow, and as you can see, that's all white. It's off the scale. So that would be giving you better than 50 degrees according to this. Like I say, you wouldn't use it in this state, neat, because this is the concentrated version. But you can see there is definitely a difference. And just to show you, we'll do it one more time, just down to the one I'm going to probably be using. I'll probably use the 50/50. Because got plenty of it. So again, clean it out. And use the 50/50. One, 2, 3. Yep, there you go, bang on again at 23, which is exactly what it said to before. So as you can see, it seems very, very accurate. It's 5 o'clock now. I wasn't going to do this, but you lucky people if you're watching this, I'm going to take the whole back of my kit car off now, just so I can get at the battery, because while it's set up here on the desk, I'm not going to do all this again, lining things up and that, but I am interested myself to see what it says about the battery acid, whereabout that comes up, because I'm still using a typical lead acid style UASA battery on my Scorpion. Plenty of videos about my Scorpion. Here's a quick picture of it. My pride and joy, 27 years old. Just been away last weekend in the worst June weather ever. Drove nearly 700 miles in the soaking wet. But that's another story. But I'll go now. I'm going to take the back off it, get a syringe full of battery acid. I'll be back in a minute and we'll measure that. Okay, so things I do for YouTube reviews. I've just taken all the back off, as you'll see. So just turn the engine on, and it's showing pretty full charge, as you'll see there, and 13 volts on there because it's on charge. So just to show you, as I turn it over, so you can hear it's fully charged. I'm now going to take some battery acid out. Okay. And I'm going to turn some stuff on and flatten the battery. So. Okay, so as you saw, I've just taken the back off the car, taken a sample of battery acid. This is from a car with a fully charged battery. Let's see what it reads. I've got the syringe of battery acid here, and like I said, I've left my headlights running while I'm doing this, and in half an hour or so it should be pretty flat. We'll take another reading then. So I've got it all cleaned, so that's the view live now. I will put 3 drops of battery acid from fully charged battery. When I say fully charged, I mean it hasn't just stopped running the engine. It'd have been a bit higher voltage then, but it's certainly enough to spin it over, and it's good charge. So let's have a look what that says. And there, if we look down at the battery, what it shows, here's the battery symbol here. It's bang in the middle, fair. I would say more, it's good because it spins the engine over great. So that's where it is on a, like I say, battery that's permanently on a trickle charge with an Optimate overnight. So, I'm going to run it flat and see what we get a reading then. Okay, we've had it running quite a while now. Fan and headlights on. If I turn the ignition on, you can see there we're at 9.8 volts, and this one is right down at 1 there. And if I try and start it, you can hear it's absolutely flat. So let's take a sample of the battery. So I've got the syringe here. It's been cleaned out thoroughly with water and thoroughly dried. So right, well, as you saw there, it's absolutely flat as a FART, the battery. So let's have a look. We'll do it live now and see what it shows on the Refractometer for a flat battery. So again, thoroughly, I'll show you just to prove it. It's thoroughly cleaned and dried. So that's how it is now, all cleaned and dried. And if you remember, it was like right in the middle of where it says fair. We'll open it up. And this is the dud battery acid, and I've not done this yet. You're seeing it live with me, whatever it says. I'll be interested to see myself. Let's have a look. Yeah, there you can see it says recharge. Before it was showing white right up to there. I dare say that if I'd have done it after running the engine and revving it harder, immediately turn it off and then take a sample, or take a sample while it's under charge when the engine running, it probably would have been here, because I do know the battery is good. Yeah, that shows you. It says recharge, and yes, it definitely needs a recharge. So So yeah, quite interesting that. You wouldn't think, would you, that, you know, battery acid charged and battery acid not charged would refract light differently, but it does. It just shows you how accurate that instrument is. So yeah, quite impressed. I can now untape it all from the desk. Okay, so the antifreeze I used was this. Grief, it's heavy, this. I don't know if it's heavier than water, but it feels 5 litres antifreeze and coolant. The reason I got this, I'll just show you. So if you type coolant, antifreeze, or whatever into Amazon, you'll find most of it, like this one here, Manon Cooler. It's 10 litres for 20 quid. That's ready mixed, so 10 litres, 20 quid, if you remember that. Most of it is like, again, 5 litres for 10 quid, ready mixed. Nearly all of it is ready mixed, but some are. So that's the thing I bought. Some are, can't find it on here, but whatever, you can get some like this, which are concentrated. But there's 1 litre there for nearly a tenner, and you mix it 50-50, you're only going to get 2 litres, so it's not very good value. But the one I got was this one, and as you can see, it's 20 quid, but as I'll show you in a minute, on the back of the thing, you can mix it at a ratio of 2 water to 1 antifreeze. So that means for your 5 litres there, you would get 15 litres for 20 quid. And I didn't find one better value than that. And it's got all the same stuff, long life, methanol free, incorporating organic acid technology. Google that, I Googled it, and most seem to have that now. But yeah, I'll hold it up to the screen and you can see. On the back there it says, winter protection for general UK conditions, use a 33% solution, 1 part antifreeze to 2 parts water. For optimum protection down to -20, use a 50% 1 part antifreeze to 1 part water. So not as strong as some of the concentrates or some of the pre-mixed ones that go down into even lower, but ample for UK use. I'm going to use it as 50-50, and because the total capacity of the Scorpion, coolant capacity, I think is 5 litres. So if I use it, yeah, it's nearly 6 litres. So I'll only need half of this and half water to fill the entire car, and then I'll keep some spare in a spare bottle here. So, but the choice is yours. That's the actual one I used for these tests. Okay, so that's just about it. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it, actually. It's amazing how accurate that line is, and very interesting measuring the refractivity, is it, not the word, of various liquids. Except I prefer using that than sorry, I said in a torch, than using this. Gives you more accurate, and I found it actually easier than sucking all that liquid up. Like I said, I will put links below, Amazon affiliated links to all the items, the antifreeze and the 2 gizmos. So yeah, do you need something so accurate? No, of course not. Many years ago, I just had a little pipette eyedropper thing with, I think, 3 or 4 floating balls, and if 2 floated, you were all right, or whatever. But yeah, so on something like this, as long as the needle goes up to round about here, you should be all right. But like I said, I found it dead interesting having that, and as you know, I do like my gizmos, so hopefully it has been of some use. If it has, please give me a thumbs up. Don't know what's in the pipeline. I bought this recently. I don't know whether to do a review on it, from Amazon, a handheld garment steamer. I bought it before going away in the Scorpion last weekend. Everything gets crammed in the boot, and you can just hang your t-shirts like this up and steam them down. So I'm undecided whether to do a review on something as basic as that, but I probably will. And whatever else takes me fancy in the future. So if you haven't already subscribed, it would be absolutely fantastic if you could. just click the picture here of the shed, and once you've done that, click the little bell icon and you'll be informed of any new uploads. So thanks for making it to the very end of this one. Hope to catch you for the future one. Bye for now.